Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to yet another episode of the Author Collaborative. And today I will be going live with one more guest. Hello, hi Sneha, good evening, thank you for joining. Today I'm going live with another author and writer whose book I have recently read, and this is going to be the 60th episode of the Author Collaborative that I'm doing. And I'm really excited to talk to today's guest because the book that we are going to talk about, it's not really a published book, it's an episodic which is released in each issue of a magazine, and she also happens to be the owner of this magazine. And I have read this story till the latest issue, and I really enjoyed it. It has elements of fantasy, and being a fan of Harry Potter, I really liked reading the story, and I'm really excited to speak to her. Hello. Oh, you can't hear me? Just a minute. Can you hear me now? Hello, Devarati. Thank you for joining. Voice not audible. Let Is it audible now? Can you hear me? Am I audible? If you can let me know in the comments. Hello. Am I audible? Okay, our guest is here. I'm just going to add her to the live now. Thank you, Sneha, for letting me know. I am waiting for my guest to join me so that we can begin today's episode. Hello, Pasta Prince. Thank you for joining. I am waiting for my guest to join me so that we can begin today's interview.
Yo.
Hello? Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you? Oh, I really love your earrings.
I'm good.
Can you show them to me? I
Oh, thank
love
you.
Jhumki earrings. Nice.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a festival here,
Yes,
so I
yes,
felt like
yes,
I
yes.
will.
So, how are the festivities going?
It's good, it's good, it's actually good.
Nice.
The firecrackers are like, no,
Yeah.
sorry. My dad was speaking something to me. Just a second, just a second.
Sneha, can you let me know if there is still an issue with the connectivity? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Till the time we wait for Haritha to join us.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Yes, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody just commented that there's a net issue. Are you able to hear me and see me?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
clearly.
Okay. So, in the comments, if anyone can let us know, I think we are fine. If
Yeah.
there's an issue, just let us know in the comments. So, Haritha, before I start today's episode, I want you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay, this is the embarrassing part, but I will I will try to do that. Okay, hi everyone. I'm Haritha. I'm a founder and a writer in Details Magazine. It's my entrepreneur venture, and we in Details Magazine we are creating a very interactive and entertaining content for the teen. It's an actually a teenage magazine for the Indian teenagers. So we have included lots of stories, travelers, mind games, and it's a very great platform for debutant writers as well as authors who want to connect with the young audience of India or anywhere, audiences anywhere. So it's a great opportunity, it's a great initiative, and we as a collaborative, many writers, including Manali, have we all together has joined to create a very beautiful thing for our Indian audience. So yeah, that's details.
Yes, thank you for letting us know about details. And I was just
Yeah.
speaking praises about the magazine before you joined, saying that it's,
Okay.
it's a very vibrant magazine, and it's kind of good content for young readers, and that's what I really like about
Mm.
it. It is aimed at young adults and teenagers, and I mean the age group is from eight and above, I believe, 8 to 18.
10 to 20. 10 to 20. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And we all know that that's the age group, where the mind develops, and that
Mm.
kind of development that takes place in that age stays with us for a long time. So that's kind of really
Yeah, yeah.
important to, expose them to good content. And I think Details is doing a really good job with the magazine and its content.
Thank you so much.
Thinking about
Yeah.
your story, episodic tale in the magazine itself, I finished reading it just 2 days ago, and I really enjoyed it. And based on my reading of the story, I have a few questions for you. Are you ready to answer them?
Yeah, sure, sure. Sure.
Yes,
I hope you actually enjoyed it
I
though.
did. I did
No.
actually, because I have mentioned in my review also that I am a fan of Harry Potter, and I do enjoy reading fantasy once in a while. And your story has those elements, which are true to the genre, and which make the genre so
Hmm.
lovable for lovers of that particular genre. So yes, I really enjoyed it. So the story I'm talking about is called Rubinite, the cursed one, and it
Hmm.
appears in the form of episodes in the magazine that Haritha was just talking about. It's called Details, and it's a teenage magazine where besides this story, there are other stories also, and there's some other amazing content as well. Yes, Haritha. So my first question to you is, in your story, we see elements of fantasy and mythology. So do you
Hmm.
think these elements they play a major role in attracting the young and teenage audience readers?
See, I think fantasy is a genre which attracts anybody if it's beautifully and tastefully handled. That's the only thing. It can be enjoyed by any person because India is a place where um, we have been embracing this kind of mythology. Our basic ideology is from a mythology itself. So these kind of fantasy elements all exist, and it's like rooted in our blood. So I don't think it just requires. It's only something that attracts the teenagers alone. It's something that attracts anybody if it's tastefully handled, with the proper convictions and with proper um rationality. I think it will be very interestingly handled. It will be enjoyable for anybody. And I think that is one of the reasons you actually enjoy reading Harry Potter as well as we all are of different age groups. It is written for somebody, but I am writing I'm like in the mid 20s, and you're also in the late 20s. So we all are enjoying writing and reading it. It just makes the
Yeah.
point that it can be enjoyed by anybody. It's not just particularly for teenagers. So, and saying that, I would really like to say is that we as Indian writers need to take up fantasy writing in a more contemporary
Hmm.
manner, I think, because it's really required. Because the olden ways of storytelling, we used to, grow up with our grandparents used to narrate to us the
Hmm. Hmm.
fictional stories. That's how we grew up. At least I have heard a lot. You might have heard more, and nowadays there is no time for anybody to recite to them story or storytell, or the grandparents are, it's kind of in a very problematic situation, complicated situation. So I think as writers we have become the grandparents right now for this society. We have to embrace it actually. And but sticking on to the olden times itself might create a very boring narration for the current generation, because that's fast growing,
Hmm.
and we are also fast growing. We have to move along with the society. So for that, we have to take a different road. Just sticking on to the olden, wearing the tiger skin, holding a bow, I don't think it's going to work anymore on the kids. And it's been, it's been used multiple times. It is relevant in a certain flashback, so sometime
So
conditions,
what you are
but
saying is
not
the
like the.
story has to also remain the same, but it has to be, contemporary.
Yeah. Yeah. In order to connect with the audience, definitely it needs to be treated in that manner.
Yeah, so well said. Yes, and I really like what you said about, fantasy being a genre for everyone. It's not just for teenagers. Yeah, so well
Yeah.
said. Which brings me to my next question. So, since we are talking about writing for young readers and teenagers, so when we are writing about such an audience, what do you feel has to be taken care of the most, especially when we are writing fiction?
I think uh, just portraying one particular, as a writer, there are chances that as a writer we all want our own fan base. That leads to a lot of people reading a particular thing that we are writing, right? So as a writer, we have to be conscious that you're not just particularly writing on one particular character,
Hmm.
just one dynamic. It shouldn't be like that. I will like to explain it by saying that previously I had a conversation with one of my editor.
Hmm.
So we were saying that we were discussing on one particular story, and we came across that, in the love story, or in the case of love story, when the hardcore romance is shown in a very passionate way, where the guy is very rough and tough, and the girl is very soft and naive, and she's so innocent that she can't take care of anything, like a damsel in distress, and he is the rough and tough hero who needs to come and save her. So that's kind of a very typical stereotypical characters that is being portrayed, and it is being overused a
Hmm.
lot many times, but it's still existing. It's still loved by many because of the passion and tension. But using that kind of a trope kind of represents a love or romance in one particular manner, and that kind of creates a very negative impact on the audiences that who are reading it, because they think that romance is only that.
Yeah.
They don't think that the romance needs to be, it can be very compassionate. It's about trust. It's about respect. It's about also giving space.
Hmm.
Those things are not shown, which kind of, removes them from the reality. So
Hmm.
I think while writing for teenagers, these elements need to be kept in mind by the writers, that you're not sticking on to one particular type of characters
Hmm.
or trope lines, because that ultimately becomes a reality for the audience or the readers who are reading it. So I think that's very important.
That's so well put. And based on your answer, if you could help us understand how you incorporated this in your particular story.
I will say that, as a writer, I began my writing career in 13 years old. So I started writing there. So during that time, it was all fluff. It's all about romance. It's all about very teenage crush and stuff like that. So I wrote, like, around for the age of 20, I wrote a lot of love stories in different genre, sorry, not genre, different theme, different kind of love, like between friends and stuff like that. Many things I wrote. Then they cut to when I was doing post graduation. Then the scenario completely changed, because you kind of see a different light.
Hmm.
You kind of understand that romance is not just about a man and a woman.
Hmm.
It's about something different. And I kind of started to take into dark writing, into writing about the psyche of the women. And I thought that, women's darker side is not explored much, or women being sassy women are not being explored much. I think the last sassy woman that I read was Sydney Sheldon. That was like the sassiest women portrayal that I enjoyed. Agatha Christie, sorry. So these are there, but still, in a mainstream, we don't get to see a lot of sassy women writing. So I thought, like, it is not there. Why not I write?
Yeah.
Mainly because major books that I read is mainly it's written by men, so they kind of give a pure justice to the male mentality. Female mentality is not being, discussed much. So why not start writing? So that's why I started writing in different darker side of women, because women are normally shown portrayed in male centric stories as either naive or being very eccentric, or cheat and kind of like sloppy kind of a nature. In between, there is nothing. We have different emotions. There is depression, there is mood swings, there is friendship, there is sisterhood. Why not we discuss it? And I think that can only be done by writers like us, who are women, who have the understanding of what being a woman is, the different emotions of it. So by saying that I kind of wrote a lot on it, like on divorce and the recent book of mine, Moksha. It's about post prenatal depression, and it's a very dark kind of a book. I will be very honest. It's not like for a very fun read. I don't think it's for a fun read. Of course, it discusses a relationship about family and stuff like that, but still, it's a dark. It's talking about the depression of the female and the family. While talking about the Rubinite, I think it was very important for me that she needs to be a very strong person, but at the same time, she has her own vulnerable side. She has her own questioning the individuality. Like, why am I existing in this world where I don't get to enjoy my life, or I don't have friends, I don't have a very normal family? It's like the main concept I wanted to explore is the differences that is being overexposed or celebrated in the society. That when if you're a different kind of a person, when you're a writer, you can kind of feel that you are kind of in an imaginary world. You think a lot, you have different perceptions, and when you put it out to the world, it's kind of like, no dude, you're overthinking. And we are like, no, it's we are just being thinking in a different manner. But that difference is not that much perceptive, it's not acceptable. So that kind of a difference is what I was trying to put in Rudra's character. So it was a conscious effort that Rudra needs to be kind of a sassy woman, but at the same time she needs to be vulnerable. Like with each story each episode, you get more about her.
Yeah.
She's not like told that this is her. In the initial phases, you kind of see that she's a very rough. She's a move, but you guys call in Hindi. She's like that. Like there is nothing in her hidden in her heart. She just says out. But at the same time, slowly, if you see, there is a progress of the character that she's vulnerable. She wants friendship. She wants to be.
I think we lost Haritha for a while, though there is some connectivity problem. Please stay with us.
In between, I got a call. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. So, I think that's how I try to.
Okay.
I think that answers the question. I told many things.
Yes.
So.
Okay. Which brings me to my next question related to teenage readers, and that is, hello. I can't see you.
Yeah. Can you see me now?
No, I still can't see you. Let's wait for a while. Can you hear me? Can you hear me and see me?
Yeah. I can see you. Yeah, can you see me now?
Now I can.
Okay.
Okay. So which brings me to my next question related to teenage readers and writing fiction for them, which is that what do you feel is, the kind of genre that teenage readers need to, we need to sort of, as writers and authors, we need to contribute more to particular genre where, teenage readers can enjoy and, gain some insights as well.
I think as a writers, we are doing it. I think there is no limitations, or there are no writers. The topics are being explored more by the writers. I don't think there is any. I'm not getting the word.
There's no dearth of content. There is only dearth of
true.
Not much reachability towards the right audience. That's I want.
Yeah, same, exactly. I also feel the same. There is nothing that the writers haven't explored. There are many things, and because there are so many books that has been released in 1 year. So come on, just imagine. So there is no particular thing that the writers haven't explored. It's just that readers aren't taking the initiative, or they aren't being exposed well.
One particular reader that you feel that teenagers are not reading much and they should.
See, I can't say like that, because as a teenager, I was a kind of a person who enjoyed reading rom-com. So that is the age. So But so I won't say that there is, oh, you should read one particular thing, because there are readers are, of course, they are individuals. They have different perceptions. They have different things they want to read. Some read it just for the sake of reading. Some just read it for because they love reading things. Some really want to explore different genres. So there are different things. So if the third category that I was mentioning, who want to explore different, they will explore whatever you put. They will come. Whether it be horror, whether it be science fiction, whether it be dark comedy, whether it be tragedy, they will explore anything they want to do. I think you are one kind of a person like that. So there is no particular, so they will explore it. The only thing is, I will connect it to the previous answer that I was saying, that if you are having a particular readers along with you, so make sure that you are exploring different kind of genres while you're writing. You are not just particularly sticking on to one particular topic. That if you're just a fiction writer, just don't stick on to writing fantasy fiction, because ultimately that particular reader who love your reading will just only read that, and they will continuously try to follow similar kind of a patterns, books and things like that. So that will just enclose them into a one particular bulb or
Yeah.
bubble. So if you are exposing yourself to different genres, they are also exposed to different things, and they are also led to watch or read something different. So what the movies are doing, what the directors are doing, they don't stick on to one particular thing, right? There are lots of different storylines, different things. So if we do that in our writing style, I think that's how we can also improve the readers.
Yeah, nicely put, Haritha. For me personally, I believe that teenage readers are not exposed to much of good non-fiction writing. That's what I have seen in my experience.
Yeah, but I think there are a lot many things non-fictionally they are learning, so they
I
don't
mean,
want to read.
beyond the academics and
Mm.
beyond what we are, in the newspaper.
Yeah, finance, mindset, the psychology, and
Yeah,
those things. Actually, good books are there. Now I'm reading it and I'm kind of enjoying it. Yeah, it has been so exposed to us in the earlier stage. I might have been in a different kind of a
yeah,
level as well. But I think also because what happens is the readers. If you are a teenager, the number of reader clubs or reader persons around you are very
uh,
less, that you don't have the person to discuss
mm,
these
mm.
things with. So what ultimately happens is the other person who is reading is also reading many of the rom-coms. So the genre, very
Binge
simple kind of
watching
a genre, very light-hearted.
yes.
So what happens is they are also stuck. If you read and explain these kinds of high level concepts and things, they are like, okay, you're nerd. I'm not. I'm not gonna talk with you. So that kind of puts them back, like, because during that kind of an age, youth is also the time where you want to assimilate with more people. You want to be liked by many people, and you want to make friends. It's all about friends. It's all about relationships and things. Because once after that, you kind of understand that it's only about you. It matters. But before that, it's all about making friends. So when you are not having that many reader friends around with you, with whom you can actually have a very good conversations like now we are having, or similar kind of conversations about books, about psychology, mentality, and things like that, it kind of pulls them back. So I think if many people actually try to give it a shot of reading things and understand that it's actually enjoyable, like watching
Hmm.
movies can make you more interesting, more wiser person, I think this kind of problem can be changed.
Let's
What do you
hope.
think?
Yes. Okay. So my next question to you is more related to your stories that I have read and also related to your magazine. So it's a part of a monthly magazine and it appears in
Hmm.
episodes. How can one go about writing such stories, which are segmented episode wise?
Okay. So I won't say that it's a very easy job. As a short story writer, you might also have faced the same. It's not easy because novel writing. When you were writing a Love Triangle, it might have been very easy because you just stick to one particular. There are main three characters, and you're revolving around them.
Yes.
So you can develop a whole maze world around them. It's very easy. The same applies here, but when you might have shifted to short story, it's very crisp. It needs to end within a particular word limit. It must have an intro. It must have a very gripping middle section and a very good final conclusion, and all those things has to be in a very correct balance, or else it's like, oh no. So that same thing goes for the episodic as well, because and also what the adding trouble is that it comes after 1 month. So there is like a whole month gap. So every story, every episode needs to be in a very crisp manner, but it's engaging, and you don't have much of space to explore more of the characters, to be very honest, because it may be because I chose a fantasy fiction, because of which it needs to be like very fast-paced story, because there are many characters involved and it needs to have lots of elements also. So in one episode, if you are not including a bit of magical element, it kind of like people might not understand, like, oh, it's a fantasy story, so it needs to have fantasy element, because of which it takes a lot of space. So it's kind of a bit of mix. It's kind of a bit, I will say, it needs to have a very clear setting of what you want to say. By saying that, I would, as you said, like, what kind of a tip that I can give to the writer, debutant writers or coming up writers is that, as a writer, have a clear cut idea on what you want to write. Just have like your writer, your characters and the storyline and the theme that you are going to explore. Have a good idea of it. Like, sometimes what happens is, as a writers, inspiration might come and we might have a very good theme in our mind, and we will think that that's the best. Okay, come on, let's write it, and that will be it. But sometimes it's the flop idea. You have to let it grow in your head. You have to develop the characters. You have to talk with them. You have to let them breathe and grow in your head, so that you kind of know what they are going to discuss, what the themes, all these things are going to be discussed. So I will say that if you're getting an inspiration, let it stay in your head for at least 2 to 3 days. Let them grow, let you know about them, understand who these characters are, let the story and the theme, and once that is done, understand what all the main points that you want to discuss. Sometimes while writing an episode, you might have like certain points. Like for me, it was still, I think it took around 5 episodes for me to finalize on one particular, like, the major points that I want to discuss on, because it was also kind of a different kind of an experience for me to write. So because there are so many things I want to explore, like I was like, oh my god, oh okay, what all things can I include in it?
The creator also.
Yeah. So, and also, yeah, of course, as you were mentioning, there is like magazine work also going on. So, like, okay, this element, okay, will this be comprehended with a good quality that the readers can understand and will be good? So then I stick on to bullying, differences, and the poaching, which is like shown in a different kind of a manner. Yeah, these are the elements that are, which is not like very shown, like spoken, like this is, we are talking about the poaching of animals. That is how we are discussed. No, but I used mermaid as a way of like poaching animals and using them for our greed and stuff. So these are things, it took a lot of time for me to like actually, okay, concrete the idea. So similarly, it will take a lot of time, but don't get overwhelmed. It's okay. It's okay to not be sure about what you want to do, but let these characters grow in your head. It's something that I have been saying it out loud to many writers that I'm meeting. Just don't start writing a particular thing that you're just stuck to your mind. Just don't start writing, because it's not going to be. Sometimes it's going to be the flop idea. Sometimes it's going to be the great idea. Like getting that. Sometimes, experience speeds.
Yeah.
So yeah.
True.
Did you have any kind of experience like that? Like you thought like something is like the good, so you started writing it, then later on somebody else might have read it and said like it's not good. It happened with Rubina actually.
think experiences like that so many times. Like because as a creator of your content, you always believe that wow, I have written fantastic. But then somebody else reads it and you understand it from their perspective and realize that it's not that good. It could have been much better. And it's the ground level.
Yeah. Any recent experiences?
No, not recent, but probably while writing Love Triangle, I was constantly,
Mm.
in touch with my beta readers who were, trying to help me shape the story better. And
Okay.
the first draft of each chapter was like dissed by them. They were like, "No, this is not going to work at all," and it broke my heart because I worked hard and I always thought that okay, this is going in a good manner and this is going to develop into a good
Mm.
chapter. But when they are like dismissing it like this, no, this is not going to work. That kind of
Oh, how did you cope with that? I think it might have taken a lot of time.
yeah, that took a lot of time, and it was also okay, it can be demotivating, but it's also like a booster for you. It can
Mm.
also be a booster for
Yeah, 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 definitely.
that they are pushing you to do better and they know that
Mm.
you can do better than this.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Definitely, I do have to say that your writing style, do not touch me. That is one. I keep on saying touch me, not touch me, not. I don't know that the names kind of. Okay, so that kind of the element, the writing style that you have used, I think it's very great. I think I'm kind of in that kind of a zone where I'm like exploring a lot of dark themes and stories. So I kind of really like when actually those kinds of elements are being discussed. Not that while saying it, I'm not talking about the sexual assault on things like that. I'm not talking about that, but the language that
Mm.
you have used in that and the suspense, I think really like it.
I'm so glad
Yeah.
it worked because I was taking a risk there. I was also trying it for the first
Mm.
time. I have not done
Mm.
something like that, where it's a like clear cut trigger warning is there in that writing. So
Mm.
readers like you. I have actually had many women writers come back and tell me that Touch Me Not was something that, that was very hard for them to read because
Mm.
it triggers a lot of
Yeah,
memories for many women. And
it,
yeah,
me too. Like it was like it was like no, 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 don't do that, don't do that, don't
yeah,
do that. It was like that. So it's really hard to read those things, but it's also very important that
yeah,
we
just
put it
because,
out.
it's hard and, we can't deal with it, it
Mm.
doesn't mean that we don't have to talk about it. We have to
Mm.
talk about it and we have to
Yeah,
talk about it to make it stop and for people to realize that
yeah,
it needs to be spoken about.
yeah, 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 yeah. Very true. It's really hard. So I think I really like those kinds of, and also under the mistletoe. Under the mistletoe, I remember I even texted you saying that, oh, you could have explained it more.
Yes.
Is that story Dylan and Diana,
Yeah.
right? I think yeah. Sorry, I remember the story. I do remember the story. I'm just not familiar with the names.
It's
Just kind
okay.
of
I
mixed
have
up.
also written so many stories that I don't remember my reader's name. So, as a reader, you are also allowed to forget the reader's name.
So yeah, even that kind of because that is kind of a different kind of as I was saying, because as there are not many stories which revolve around the psyche or the traumas that the women are going through, except getting cheated or getting assaulted. These are the, like, when it is discussed about the female problems or traumas, these are the only two things that is
Exactly.
exponentially spoken, the traumas like sexual assault, rape, or something like that, or they're getting cheated by a partner. But other than that, there are a lot many things to be discussed. And what you have shown in Under the Mistletoe, it was like refreshing. I thought that it would be a very cute romantic story, and it went out to be, oh no, it kind of different, has a different genre, different theme, and
Yeah.
it was wonderful.
Yeah.
So I think writers like you need to explore those kinds of concepts more. As women, we can only do.
Yeah, exactly.
You can blame men; they don't know.
Yes.
So yeah.
Haritha, which brings me to my last question, which is
Hmm.
what kind of, since we are already talking about dark and villainous elements in the story, I want to ask your perspective as writer of teenager readers. What kind of villainous or dark elements do you feel that can or cannot be added to, fiction writing, which is targeted at younger audience?
Uh, See, this is one line that one of the writer who was involved in details told me. Teenagers and youth are very intelligent than we are. They are more exposed to things than we are actually. So don't ever consider them to be very naive and they don't know many things. They are very smart and very intelligent people. So, and I go with it. Definitely, I go with the with what she has told me, because they know many things. They actually know. Only thing is they are not being exposed or they are not voicing it. That is make them that they don't understand things what is happening around them, because ultimately they are the adults who are going to be an adults soon, so they know things. So by saying that, I don't think there is any particular villain element that needs to be hidden from them. They need to be exposed to it, and they are exposed to it. If we are not writing it, somebody else is writing it. If that is being condemned from them reading it, they are going to find a different way to read it. So it's going to be there. The only thing is, uh, it's I think showcasing a wrongdoing in the right manner. Like when a
Yeah,
person,
I believe what you're trying to say is showing something without consequence. That's
yeah, not just consequence, but as like bullying a kind of a person. I would like to mention is the second question, second answer that I was talking about, like the arrogant kind of a man who who shows his power on a woman to show his love. That is so much there is a in Indian stories also still is going on, like there are shows like Ishqas or something like that. They are still using concept like that even in, I'm like, K-drama or in the foreign countries, foreign dramas. This kind of a trope is still going on, like the arrogant, and that is being showed as a bright manner of the love or portrayal or anything. I'm just saying is that that kind of justifying wrongdoing by saying that this is actually the right kind of a love or right kind of a doing is kind of the villainous, and that is kind of pulling back our society, I think so. So if you are showing that if a man is bullying you, show that that person is what that person is doing is wrong. Stand up against it and show that what you're doing is wrong, even if that girl is naive. Or for example, I would like to say is that while portraying women, girls with specs, with pimples, or being bit chubby, they are shown as the ugly women.
yeah.
Like you if the particular then there is like they will come back as with straight hair, nicely premmed hair, with a glass skin. There is no glasses, they have lenses, they have slim body, like wearing tight fit dresses and things like that. That is glorified as being the beautiful thing. Body shaming, body positivity, I think that is one thing. It's a villain of the society. Why? Why a woman with tight fitting clothes with a very beautiful glass skin is only the beautiful woman? Why can't a woman with a specs, having pimples, having unruly hair, and a bit of chubby nature or a healthy nature cannot be a good woman or a beautiful woman? Why should we, show this is good, this is not? And I think those kind of elements, it goes along also for the male portrayal also. The man has to be very hunky, and should be very powerful, should not show any kind of emotional traits, emotion, those things, I think. Or if they, by chance, they start to cry, that's it, done. It's ruined. It's ruined. The characters are not good. So I think those are the villains of the society, the stereotypes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, portrayal and body positivity both are very. That's what you rightly said. That those are the kind of villains that we should be. Even if,
Yeah, because the rest is actually there in the society. We can't negate the fact, there are people. And when I'm watching news, I'm like, seriously, these goons are there. It's not just fictional. It's just we are not seeing them. It doesn't mean that they aren't there.
yeah.
So these are things that we can't, these are there. But these are the things that disrupts a individual. So I think those are the villainism that if we as writers are being very conscious and being very good adults, matured adults are trying to change it, then it will be good.
Okay, very nicely put, Haritha. That since you have already talked about body positivity and we are talking so much about your story, now I want you to
Mm.
download something from the story for us. And I am aware that the latest cover of the magazine is also very something that I have loved and something which will take the message that we are trying to convey here.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to. I would love to. So this is our the latest issue of Details, and this is Liso. So yeah. So
Look
I
at it in
think
so
this
much body
line
positivity
actually,
and look at her confidence. I am just a fan.
yeah, definitely. True, 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 true. This was actually suggested by one of the writer, actually content writer in our magazine. So yeah. So this is the episode I'm gonna read. So this is the 11th episode. I'm so sorry I don't have the first issue with me. So or else I would have read a particular paragraph from that. But it's the 11th issue. I will just to read a small paragraph from there. I think it kind of introduces you to read more about Kryptonite. And if you are interested, please do read it and would read back to me like how you enjoyed it or not. So I haven't done this. So this is the first time. So if I'm doing it wrong, please bear with me.
No problem. Go on.
So Rubinite by Haritha, 11th episode. Suddenly, Marky transformed into his milky white Veta form, as he was furious with the things happening in his life and the constant threat from Mara. Startled by the sudden energy change, Bhumi turned around and screamed as a bull was raged towards them, while Marky struggled with his hands. Marky's eyes were burning golden bright as he kept pushing the bull to the back while gritting his teeth at the pensive-looking Mara sitting on the top of the bull. Mara's pale tanned skin, half hidden behind his black shades, showed no emotions while he held the golden silver staff, and his black cape fluttered in the air. I have warned you before, Mara. Your every step of affection towards Bhumi brings her closer to me, Mara, the messenger of death. Not today, Mara. You're not touching any of the women I love, Marky warned. So this is one thing. I don't think it revealed much, but it
Yes.
also did say
Yeah.
much.
I have to
So
say here that I kind of love the character of Marky because the way he behaves towards his I don't know I don't know how to say it without giving out spoilers, but the way he behaves towards
it's
the one
okay.
he has a crush on is very endearing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually one of the love story trope that the Rubinite has. Yeah, that is the only love story trope. So it's kind of like when the beginning they all the readers were all suggesting like, oh, is it Rudra and the other person? They're having the tension, and I'm like, you never know, but it is.
That one is one that obvious.
So yeah. So now I think we have spoken a lot about my book. So I would like to ask you a few questions regarding Under the
Yes.
Mistletoe, which is absolutely beautiful. It's a very perfect weekend read. So if you want to read something very calming and very nice and not making you go all fussy about what already your week has been, go pick Under the Mistletoe by Monali Desai because I have read it. I have enjoyed it. So I think you will also do that. Enjoy it
Yes.
too. So the first question I want to ask you is that how did you design on the various themes you want to discuss in Under the Mistletoe? Because there are a lot many different kinds of stories, different kinds of themes. So how do you design like okay, this one, this one, this one? So how do you decide on that?
So the basic idea was to focus on the festive season, the holiday season, from the
Mm,
Christmas to the New Year's, and there is a certain positivity in the air when we are, celebrating any festival, especially something like
mm,
it goes on for 10 days, and though there is positivity, we also have to realize that there are bad things happening, bad experiences happening
mm,
during such times also, and I wanted to address both the issues because life is mix
mm,
of both. You can't have the good
mm.
without the bad, and both are very
Yeah, yeah.
shades of gray. I have always believed that. So I wanted to
Mm,
show
mm.
that as well as the festive spirit, spirit of Christmas and New Year's, and that's how the stories came about.
Okay. So, it was like, did you, these were the collections of the stories which you have previously written, or you just, how many stories actually you wrote it for the book?
So that
No, you
yes,
wrote like, okay,
there are 12 stories in the anthology, but for the first time I wrote the first time it's written must be about 60 or 70% of the stories that I wrote purely for the book. But some of them I reworked on and I tried to inculcate the festive spirit into them. They were not originally
Mm.
written being part of the Christmas or New Year celebration.
Okay.
I added those elements in
Oh.
few stories.
Okay. Any story that you particularly wrote for the book? Only for the
Only for the book Under the Mistletoe, and yeah, Under the Mistletoe was always going to be the one of the main stories because it has the festive season right from the onset, and first scene itself we know that there is Christmas happening. So,
book. Yeah. So, what was the inspiration behind that story?
I know of a few people who have, been through such an experience of a personal loss, and I know how difficult it is to come out of something that has affected you so deep, and that
Mm.
was kind of the inspiration behind it.
Great. So, as we were talking before, like there are many women portrayal in the story, different women in different age groups. So, as a female writer, author, sorry, female author, what kind of a different women portrayal needs to be handled by us? What kind of a difference that we can bring in the portrayal of women?
I feel uh, there are a few things about the personality and the behavior of women that needs to be changed. For instance, I want to talk about one of my favorite lead protagonists that I have created, who was the lead character in my debut novel, Aisha Banerjee. Through her character, I
Mm.
tried to break quite a few stereotypes. One of the major stereotypes that I have tried to break is where women are considered to be they should have only a certain kind of feelings for only one person. They should not be having multiple
Mm.
crushes. That
Very absolutely very relevant, very relevant. I think as a person, I really think we need to break that concept that I'm not saying that you are supposed to have polygamy or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like
It's
that.
not
Not
about
that, but
that
I'm just
also.
saying that
It's
you date.
it's just about being in that age group and having feelings. Like it's
Mm.
quite normal. I mean, she's in her,
Yeah, yeah,
she's
yeah,
in her
definitely.
early 20s. She's single. She's allowed to have multiple crushes. That's
Mm.
okay. As long as it's
Yeah.
not breaking anyone's heart, or as long as
Mm.
nobody's getting hurt in the process, it's okay to have.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as
And I think it's very also important for the Indian society. Sorry.
sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, I think it's also very important for the Indian society to understand that women, when you you interact with other people only when you know what you want in your life. So I think the Aisha Banerjee's character was absolutely perfect for that. When you understand, when you speak, when you talk with another human being, like in the case of dating or for in a friendship, you understand what you want in a partner.
Exactly.
That helps you to
Yeah.
understand. So have a better relationship. Yeah. So.
Other than that, that's one thing that I feel is lacking, and we should be addressing it more. That it's okay to have feelings for more than one person.
Mm,
And the other thing I feel that needs to be changed is the way we portray women. As you were saying, that it's not necessary to show a woman as a damsel in distress. She can be bold and beautiful, and yet have a
mm,
vulnerable side. It's not necessary that she has
mm.
only a vulnerable side that makes her attractive.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Again, I'm going to go back to my own character, Aisha Banerjee. She's very bold and confident, and she's beautiful also. But then there is also a vulnerable side to her that makes her more human, I think, and that kind of
Mm,
adds to her allure and attractiveness more. And we consciously try to not show her as a damsel in distress.
mm. It's a conscious effort. As the writers, we are taking that not to portray a woman as a damsel in distress. Like it's done.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
she's
overdone.
perfectly capable of taking care of herself, but it's just that she needs a good companion. She needs somebody who can take care
Mm,
of her when she's feeling low, and when she wants to be when she feels the
mm.
need to be taken care of.
True, true. So that takes me back to the next question is yeah, the stories like Do Not Touch Me, Under the Mistletoe, it kind of has a positive end, but saying that it revolves around a very dark concept or a very loss or a kind of a that kind of a theme is what it has been dealing with. So there is kind of always a inhibition in the minds of the readers as well as the new debutant writers that if a book ends in a loss or in a sad ending, the book is not going to be a commercially viable or commercial success. As an successful author who has received numerous awards and has been a bestseller for many times, so what is your tip for the writers like that who are having inhibitions like that?
See, firstly, you should focus on your content rather than the outcome. That's one thing that has to be clear in your head. Don't write with the intention of becoming a bestseller or winning awards. That's one thing that has to be away. Your only focus should be to be able to write good stories, to be able to convey a message that you want to convey. These should be your
Mm,
priorities, and it's okay to not tell a story with a happy ending or tell a story which does not have fun and laughter moments all the time, because it's necessary to
mm,
address the goods and the bads in the society, the goods and the bads
mm,
in your life. Even though we are fiction writers, we have to make a conscious choice to make the fiction as real as possible. And we all know that whatever fiction, it's not generally true. uh, Even with the movies, I believe that we have evolved, but there are certain elements of movies which find really problematic, because we know that ये ऐसा सच में तो नहीं होता है यार, and we know it's not, uh, because I am somebody who loves slice of life stories, and that's why I make that conscious choice to uh, put good and the bad in my story together. So, staying true to your character and staying true to the kind of writing that you like to do, that's more important.
okay, that's good. True, true, true. So what if like they actually write a sad ending and the readers come and say that you need to change the
To stick
ending
to your conviction.
because
I
it's
have
too.
had so many readers come back and tell me that they were disappointed with the ending of Love Triangle, but I have always maintained my stance on it, that I was clear about the ending right before I, began writing the book. So I have to stay true to my
Hmm.
intentions and my purpose of writing the story.
Yeah. Yeah. I also had some similar kind of experience with Moksha because it's a very sad ending, and they were like, "It's really sad," and I'm like, "I know, but what to do?" Like for sometimes it happens like as you were telling before. Sometimes in order to explain certain concept, you need to take a very hard stand. It doesn't mean that certain, and also when it's related to social messaging,
Hmm.
you can't always give it a like flowery kind of an ending because it kind of like suits the whole
Yeah.
idea. It kind of ends with a soft kind of a very flowery ending. They're like, oh, it can be cured and stuff like that. But we have to think like it's the extremes. If you show, it kind of sticks. It might not be happy thing, but
Yeah, another thing that I want to add here is that yes, we are writing for the readers, but we also have to understand that readers have, if you try to stick to the conventions that you are used to and the readers are used to, what new are you adding to the genre or the story?
mm,
We also
yeah,
have to provide that kind of uniqueness through our storytelling. So yeah,
mm,
don't be afraid of deviating from the conventions.
yeah. We have to be courageous enough to follow our path
Yeah.
and our style.
Yes.
Okay. So okay, you have written a lot of rom-coms and romantic slice of life stories. So what are the 4 tips that you will give to the upcoming writers that to perfect a very good romantic rom-com?
Okay. First of all, if you're not funny in real, you really can't be funny on paper. You have got to be have some kind of fun, sarcastic, witty side to
Mhm.
your own personality to be
Okay.
able to translate it on to your stories and on paper also. So try to be more carefree in your nature if possible.
Mm.
If you don't have that kind of personality, befriend someone who is like that. They will help you.
Get inspired from them.
So probably their punchlines and sense of humor will help you get inspired to put those kind of dialogues and scenarios in your stories. Uh,
Have you taken any inspiration from your friends,
I have.
or are you a kind of a funny person?
I am a funny person also, and I am surrounded by people who are very. It's kind of a,
Okay.
yeah. We are all crazy people who know.
One of my teacher actually told me that we are a BA English student, so we kind of once had a talk on one serious matter, and she just looked at us and said, English graduates are very bit crazy, so they're a bit different. So we can't help it. You are going to be like that.
Right.
So I think the writers are going to be crazy.
And
You have an edge.
so I'm not saying change your personality, but it's always
Hmm.
better to have a funny side to life in your
Hmm.
life also, which helps you translate that into stories and be able to add elements of humor into the story, into the rom-com. Other than that, I think there are a few elements that make a good rom-com. There has to be a tension between the characters. There has to be a certain kind of banter, and we know that a certain methods work really well, which is trying to show some kind of animosity between the characters always works. That's another thing.
Hmm.
Don't just show them falling in love right away. That's going to fall flat.
Hmm.
There has to be certain kind of development in the relationship, and that always makes for a good rom-com. That's one element that always works. And other than that,
Hmm.
have a bunch of side characters who are also adding to the story. They are not just there for they are not just mere showpieces and filling the fluff in the story. They have to be
Hmm.
really important, the decisions that the lead characters are taking.
Very true, very true. Very important actually. Sometimes they do, while writing only focusing on the two characters, we kind of opt out to explore the stories of the other side of characters. So yeah, it's very important. So that brings to me to the next question is that as a teenage author, it's similar to what you have asked me, but I'm asking you as a writer's perspective, as a writer, a teenage author or a teenage writer, debutant writer, which genre do you think they can and must explore while writing?
While writing,
Hmm.
hmm, I think the
Or best genre that you can
the most
explore.
practical advice I can give here is write in a genre that you have read the most. That's always easy because you know what kind of writing you like as a reader. So you'll be
Hmm.
able to write that particular genre better than any other genre. So try doing that. As for myself, because I have read a lot of romance, that's why I also chose rom-com as my debut. And yeah, I feel that it has worked well for me. So yeah, that's one advice that I can give you, which is on the practical side. Don't get too emotional or too overthinking about it. Just go with a genre that you have read the most.
Absolutely. Very true. Very true. So yeah, these were the questions that I wanted to ask you, and you absolutely beautifully answered
Yes,
it.
which brings me to the fun part of the segment and my favorite part, which is the rapid fire. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I have been racking the mind like what would be the answer that I should give. Sorry.
Yes, so you have to answer whatever comes to your mind right away. It has to be
Okay.
spontaneous. You can't take more than 10
Okay.
seconds. My first question
Okay.
is, what do you think the 13-year-old you would tell the current you? I mean, vice versa. What would you like to tell your 13
Oh, okay.
at this stage?
My 13-year-old self will look up to me and say, "Oh, so we are not doing the fashion designing. So we have opted out." So yeah, that will be the one thing that she will look up to me and say, "Hey, you're doing magazine, you're writing." So, well, about me, I will tell to her is that it will be much more of a philosophical. Like I will say that try to live your life. Don't get inspired from what is happening around your friends or movies or your sister or
Yeah.
anything. Try to live your life because you're filled with many good people. You can make a very good life. So yeah, try to live your
Yeah, very good advice. Ah, yes.
life.
Next one. What would your pet reviews be?
Oh dear God. Oh, see, I can think of that animal that can be like in my spirit animal. If I'm honest, I think either it can be a tiger or a peacock.
Hmm.
I think those two. think so.
Nice. Interesting. Peacock. Very colorful. Oh, okay. Okay.
They're graceful,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're very graceful. I think I am like that, but yeah, we can just
You
choose.
have a colorful personality also, so that suits you. I mean, it makes sense that you have a peacock as a patroness.
Thank you. What will be yours? I'm so sorry, I'm interjecting, but still.
Interesting. I've never thought about it. Probably, probably a sloth.
You have to answer this. Sloth. But if you are like a sloth, like the one in the Ice Age, I would really love it. Like that's fun, right? That's like
So
very
many people
cute one. And they,
tell me that I'm like this ball of energy that never fuses out, and I am always motivated to keep doing. I have this zest for life, but
yeah, that's why
inside
it was
my
very
spirit,
contrasting
my
to the
spirit is a
sloth.
sloth. People will not believe me, but inside I am like a sloth. I really have to push myself to do something. I have to tell myself 10 times to do it. Yes, Manali, you have to do it. Stop thinking about it and just get to it.
Okay, that's interesting actually.
Yes. My next question to you is, what's the last thing you did for the first time, and would you do it again?
I didn't do anything new. I didn't do anything new actually. Really, I didn't know. I have to say that today you actually posted a story mentioning, mentioned the 5 hobbies, and I just looked at it and I said like, I don't have any hobby. I don't. I was like, what am I gonna write? Like I used to have some, but I don't have. Like I turned my hobby into my profession, and
Now I
now
don't
I'm
have any
like
hobbies.
true. Like I write, I do that a lot. I read, I do that for the living. And what? I'm eating, I'm exercising. Can that be considered as a hobby? No. I'm like, I have to do something. But answering to your question, I didn't do anything new, but I would really like to do a headstand.
Ah.
Yeah, that would be something that I want to do. Something
To
because
do that,
I,
you have to share a video on Instagram. Then we want to see a reel.
oh my god. It's actually because many people are doing like they are good at music, it's like dancing, music, or like athletics or something like that. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything. Like, okay, let's try headstand. It's actually good for the health also. So like it's something different. Like from the childhood, I have seen one of my father's friends do that. So I think like I will try doing it. So I think that will be the one thing that I might
Ah, nice. Okay. Which brings me to, if you could have dinner with any three fictional world people, who would those be? People from any fictional
try.
character. It not necessarily from books. It can be from TVs, movies,
Mm,
TV movies, web series.
I think I will go for Gangubai. One.
Mm.
One character will be I don't know if you know Minnal Murali
Oh
from
my God, I am a
Malayalam. So
fan. I am
yeah,
fan
him.
by the way, Minal Murli is there.
So yeah, Minnal Murali, and I think I will go for Joey,
Hmm.
and
That's more than three,
and
Karan.
I think Dumble. Sorry.
You have said more than three. I said three.
Yeah, yeah, like
You're
Joey, but
only
I can,
three
can
now.
can I pick on one more? Like I will say like Dumbledore.
Ah,
I will say Dumbledore. Like these four characters, vibrant characters. So yeah.
good choice. Okay, my last question to you is, tell us something about you that people find it hard to believe. Like, if you tell me you do this, I will be like, no, don't joke.
I don't sleep.
I believe that. I do.
You can see through my eyes actually.
No, no,
Actually, I can.
because in my experience, as many writers as I have known, more than 50% of them are nocturnal. So I believe you.
Yeah. It's actually it's not that not just I don't know like from the childhood. Recently, my dad was sharing to me that even when I was a child, I don't used to sleep. Like they all will be sleeping, I still will be playing. Like I hardly have 6 hours of sleep. I should only sleep like that much. More than that or less than that, I will be like cranky
Yeah.
or either I won't sleep. Like so, it's kind of a bad for me. But other than that, something I think I procrastinate
That I find
a
hard to
lot.
believe. Yeah.
I procrastinate a lot. Like, as you were mentioning before, like, you have to push yourself. Sometimes, like, it takes a bit of time for me to do, but I think it's for the good also. Recently I understood that if something is not good for happening, I take a lot of time to get it done. So if it is happening very fast, it's like, okay, it's going to be done. So I'm taking the positive, positive notion, that kind of a thing, procrastinating right now.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Yes, that
So
brings me to the end of my questions, rapid fire round questions.
I will be shooting questions to you now. You have to be very spontaneous. So, okay, this one I wanna, as you're a Harry Potter fan, and I'm a very big Harry Potter fan, me as well. So I would ask you, if you have a wand in your hand right now, and if you can perform two spells, which will it be, and upon whom?
I have always been curious about locked doors, so probably Alohomora would be one. And Expelliarmus because it saved Harry so many times.
Upon whom? Upon whom? Like you will do
Whoever
Expelliarmus.
trying to attack me, I mean, come on, there are so many people who have negative things to say about writers. Anybody who is throwing negative comments at me.
Beware, beware, beware. Beware people who are trying to write negative comments about the book. Yeah. So, your recent celebrity crush. That your husband has a jealous on also
Oh,
because you have a celebrity crush over him or her.
recent. Oh my God. Okay. This is really tough because I do like a lot of actors and their characters from movies. But can we go with Minnal Murli because I really liked him. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was
He's actually
yeah
fantastic. Actually, it's funny as
yeah.
well. It's very good. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. If you get a chance to live as a character, one of the character from your short stories, all the short stories, if you get to live as one of the character, who will it be? Which character will it be?
Interesting.
Hmm. Because I know,
Does
like,
it
if I
have to
say
be from
story,
the latest book?
it can be any character. Like, if you're saying it, the latest book, I will be able to connect. I can connect with it.
So from the latest book, I would probably like to live as Dylan because he's trying to make Diana's
He's very
life
sweet.
a little better, and
He's very
yeah,
sweet.
I would like to be Dylan. And from all my stories, if I had to pick one character, I think I would like to be Viren because I want to I want to
Okay.
understand how he's the way he is. I mean, how is he so calm and how is he so matured and level-headed? I want to achieve
Oh,
that level of zen that he has.
oh, I thought you would be saying Aisha. That's why I said like no, not love
Because
triangle. It's particularly from
I already
personality.
have a lot of character traits from Ayesha, but I don't think I have a lot of
Mm,
character traits from Viren. And I
brain.
we all can learn from Viren to be that level of zen and level-headed.
Yeah, yeah. It's very mature and very
Yeah.
composed. Okay. Your three favorite bookstagrams.
Sorry, book.
Your three favorite bookstagrams.
Oh, three favorite bookstagrammers. Okay.
You have to be very cautious right
No,
now.
no. I am. So my favorite bookstagrammers. I think everyone knows by now who has been following, who two people who have been following me for a while. They know already. One has to be Sukana Majid. Uh, the second one is Siddhant Agarwal, and third is probably Ankita Khatnar. These three. I think I've already mentioned them in my acknowledgements also. So yeah, these three.
Great, great, super, super. Okay. The last and final question. The last thing that you ticked off from your bucket list.
The last thing.
You ticked off from your bucket list. The last thing you did. Oh, you completed from the
My
bucket
bucket
list.
list is really.
Hmm.
I'm probably, taking off a few things every now and then. Let me think.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's really difficult for me to recall, but uh,
The
I
recently
don't want to reveal it because it can get back to me.
you have to. You have to.
Okay, so I did something on New Year's which I have wanted to do for a long time, but I cannot reveal it here.
Oh, you can text it me. You can say it to me first. So yeah, these were my questions. Yeah.
It was really a fun experience. I am definitely going to text you what I did on New Year's.
Sorry?
I'm definitely going to text you about what I did on New Year's.
I'm eager to
Yeah.
know it.
This was really fun, Haritha. I think we talked for over an hour and I don't
Really?
realize.
We did.
Yeah.
See, I told you in the initial also.
But it was fun
Yeah, it
and
was fun.
I learned a lot from you and I hope I will,
Yeah, same
share my,
same here, same
you
here.
know. So whoever has joined us, thank you for being with us till the end. And those of you who are not able to catch the full conversation, this video will be on my IGTV and on my YouTube channel, which goes by the same name, A Rustic Mind. And thank you, Haritha, for joining me on
Thank you
this,
so much.
I think, 60th episode, if I'm not counting it wrong. I think
Oh,
60th
wow.
episode of the Author Collaborative. Yeah.
Wow. That's great. That's great. I'm really happy that I am the 60th guest and you're all collaborative. So thank you so much for giving me this
I hope
great
we can do
opportunity.
this
It was
again
really great
sometime
from
soon.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
And I look forward to
Yeah.
having another conversation and another episode with you, which will probably be livelier than this. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. It was really, really great talking to you and also the people who have joined us. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, it's me,
Bye.
Haritha.
Bye. Good night. Good night.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night. Bye.